Welcome to our second tutorial on creating a dynamic landing page. The previous tutorial we did look at our HTML, and it is the HTML coding we did in that first lesson for what you are presently viewing on your screen right now. As you would have known, as was mentioned in the first tutorial, that what you're seeing in your screen right now, we use HTML, we use CSS, as well as JavaScript to create what you are viewing on your screen right now. So we are moving on. We are moving on to looking at the CSS for what you're viewing on your screen. So the HTML is already uploaded, and it would have been required for you to be practicing that code. And now we are moving on to our moving on to our CSS. All right. So let's go ahead and look at our CSS coding. But before we do so, let's glance back at this line, and I am going to be specific to this line because we are creating what is called external CSS. We're creating a separate sheet of styling that will be combined into this HTML to bring that level of styling to it. Now, after creating our CSS style sheet, we will need to use this line right here, which is our link rel equal open double quotation style sheet close the quotation href equal open quotation, and you see we have CSS backslash style dot CSS, and we close our quotation. Now, let me bring you to this point right here. This where you're seeing your CSS backslash, then you're seeing your style. Now, why you are seeing this CSS is because the actual CSS code is stored inside of a folder called CSS. So when we do it like this, it's simply saying that we are calling our style sheet that is saved as style inside of a folder called CSS. So just to make that a bit clear. So even, and let's do an example as well, even for our Java script right here, you're seeing JS backslash main dot JS. That is simply saying that for our JavaScript code is saved as main. However, it is saved as main inside of a folder called JS. All right. So just to make that clear, if it was a case that it wasn't inside of the folder called JS, there wouldn't be a need for us to have, sorry, there wouldn't be a need for us to have the JS backslash there. But because it's inside of the folder, we have to specify that it is inside of a folder called JS. However, as mentioned, this tutorial is not on JavaScript today, but it is zooming in into our CSS coding. And even if you see a code like this line right here, and it is asking you what is the CSS file or the CSS file name, you could look at this code and you could state that the CSS file name is actually style. So if I had have style M1 right here, the name would be what? Style M1. But in this case, I did save my style sheet as style. Good? Just to make that clear. All right. So just to draw your memory and to make when we move to the specific CSS code clearer, let's run back through this HTML code. So of course we have our body tag right here, and inside of our body tag we have our time tag, We have our our H1 tag, and you see your spam tag, they are inside of your H1 tag. We have our H2 tag, and we have our focus for today is inside of our H2 tag. We have an H2 tag, and you know that when I think of H2, I feel like this the heading, the header size, or I can also say level 2 if I want to refer to the same thing. So in my second H2 tag here, I have my ID focus. I am saying I want my ID focus to be content editable, simply mean that you are able to enter information in it. You, the user, can type information. That was mentioned in previous lesson. Here again, H, I have my H3. I could have used H2, but just to show you the variance in terms of the various levels. And I have my spam tag inside of my H3 heading as well, and have my ID greeting to be presenter, and I'm making the this ID name for the actual presenter name, making it content editable and making it show simply mean that the presenter can type in his or her name or their name from the actual landing page when it is loaded on the web or in your browser. All right. So just to make those stuff clear, and of course, as I mentioned, these could have been H2, but I just made them H3 to show the variance. Now, with that said, let's look at our actual style sheet. And of course, I start off my style sheet here, my external style sheet. I'm just making emphasis on that as well because, sorry, I am actually using an external style sheet. My asterisk, and I have my open there, and I'm saying the box sizing, and I'm saying the border of, I'm speaking to the box sizing border, and I'm saying I'm going to make it margin 0, padding 0. So simply mean that everything is going to full the screen out entirely. Okay. Um, Moving down, I have my body right here, and please note this body here is making a reference to the body tag that I have in my HTML right here. So I am going to use the style sheet to style everything that is inside of the body. So I'm saying for my body, I want the font family, same thing that you will call your font type or the style of writing. So I have font hyphen family colon, and I want it to be quicksand and sans serif right there. And please know that I end that line with a semicolon, and I want the display to be want to be flexible, and I'm saying the flex direction of it should be column, and I want to align my items in the center, and then I want to justify my content in the center, and I want my text align in the center, and the color that I want is red, and I want the height to be 100 VH. And please note that I have my body here, open body, all this information right here, and then I close the body. So all of this styling, this style writing, this display, this color will be applied to all the content in the body area of my HTML document. Right? And if you remember that I did mention time right here in my HTML document, I mentioned time, and I'm going to go ahead now and I'm going to say hashtag time open bracket, and I say I want the font size of time to be 8 rem. And please note, don't overlook these simple colons and your semicolons. They are vital. Those are syntax. Those are rules that you need to put in place if your coding is going to work and work effectively. So that's me there making styling to my time tag area. So all information inside the time tag would apply this font size to it. Now I have my H1 open bracket, and I say the margin for my H1, margin from the bottom should be 3 rem. And moving on, I am saying for my H2, I want my H2 um margin from the bottom to be 0.5 rem, and the capacity spacing I want it to be 0.6. You are not actually seeing H3 here because I did just make the changes the the HTML to use H3 just to show the variation, because originally I did not use an H3. I used H2 in HTML, so this H2 would apply to it all the way through. But if it's a case that I still want to apply the same to my H3, I could simply change this to H3 and the application go all the way through. All right. And I am saying, referring at my media inside of it, I want it to be a maximum width of 700 pixel. And please note this carefully. I have at media open bracket max hyphen width colon to be 700 pixel, and I close my bracket. I open my curly bracket for it, and inside of it, I am making a reference again to my hashtag time. And I'm saying for this hashtag time, I want it to be font size 6 rem. And of course, I would have closed my time right here, and this curly bracket would have closed this one right here. Please note, when I click on the curly bracket, it make the open and close one become highlighted. So let me show you an example again. If I should click on this open curly bracket for a time, you realize that the closing one is highlighted. If I should click on my if my close curly bracket for H3 right here, it makes the corresponding one highlighted. Alright? And this would it will react this way after you save the sheet. So after you, for example, you save your sheet as style.css. Remember, please remember, when you're saving your style sheet, you give your style sheet a name. It don't necessarily have to be style, but what it have to be, it have to carry the extension .css. It has to carry the extension .css. Very important. All right. So I'm just going to allow you to preview this for a few seconds, as we would have come to the end of this pretty simple tutorial on CSS. The next tutorial that we move on will be our JavaScript for our landing page, which will be the final one for our landing page. So just pay keen attention to what is on the screen, and please note that every single symbol, word, number that you're seeing on the screen, it is important and it is precise for full connection and application of style to your HTML document. It's important not to overlook your colons, your semicolons, your hyphens, your open curly bracket, your various tags, your hashtags. They are very important for it to work. So please remember that you need to practice to develop mastery. Being a good web developer does not happen overnight. It takes dedication and determination. But each and every one of you, you have the ability to become one of the greatest, or if not the greatest, web developer of all time. But please remember, you need to practice. So until then, please remember to practice, subscribe, and share the link with a friend who might or will need the benefit of such information. Until then, take care.